Hello and welcome to today's World's 2022 video where we're going to cover the final four junglers. Yesterday we did top laners if you missed it. Down in the description we have three links: Twitter, Discord, YouTube memberships. Twitter and Discord, join me there, follow me, do whatever you want to do. YouTube memberships, $3 a month to get a badge in the comment section, $10 a month to get extra content that pertains to NFL, American football, and league predictions if there are games the next day at the $10 a month tier. Now, so yesterday when we went over top lane, we could tell that there was, some differences between the top laners, right? Zeus was out farming the other three by half a CS or more a minute, and the KPs had some discrepancy, damage share discrepancy, and I mean, they were opening up big leads at 15 minutes. I think Zeus had 1,000 on average gold lead at 15 minutes, which is massive, right? Across 9 games, that's huge. Now, with the jungle, it's a little tighter, right? Not as much resources to go around. The job is pretty self-explanatory. Now, for KDA, Peanut actually leads the way at 6.8. We have to keep in mind, not all these teams played the same. I mean, all these teams did not play the same opposition, right? Not all junglers are created equally. Not all teams are created equally. But Kanavi has the worst KDA at 5.1. That does make sense. JDG is very skirmish heavy. They are a bloody team. So KDA is always going to kind of be sus with them because of that. Kanavi is their best player. I think he's the best jungler in this tournament. The farm at 7 compared to the other three that are sitting between 5.5 and 5.7 is a big difference, right? One CS every minute. Kanavi is gapping his opponent on average throughout this tournament. So we're looking at a situation where when they play Owner this weekend, at 10 minutes, we're looking at a 15 CS lead on average, just outright. Now, and that's all matchups. So what's going to happen, remains to be seen. The other two LCK junglers also sitting in that 5.5 to 5.7 range, very standard. Anything above 5.5 is good. I think like 7 for Kanavi makes sense. Kanavi is going to get a lot of farm. He's going to steal camps. He's going to take some of your wave. Maybe that's why 369's farm is not as high as Zeus is yesterday. KP, another thing. So 67.7, 67.7. So Kanavi and Owner have the same KP, but Kanavi is farming a lot better. So the way I look at it, when I look at farm and I look at KP, you're either doing one or the other. Now I wish, and I really do wish, that there was a stat to take jungle proximity and how much it, gets gold-wise. Like, you don't always get a kill when you create pressure. Sometimes you just push the team off of the wave. Sometimes you drop Herald, you take the turret. Things like that. Like, that can be accounted for in some way. I'm not, I'm not a genius to be able to put that all together, all the formulaic things and things like that to do that. But because when you look at this, you say to yourself, okay, 7 and 67.7 makes sense because Kanavi is farming more than he is creating in terms of kills. So he's only in 2 of every 3 kills. But then Owner is creating 2 out of every 3 kills. He is a part of that, but he is farming a lot less. So he has too much time on his hands where he is doing nothing. He's not getting gold. He's not getting kills. Now, Peanut is the highest, 73.4, which is good given the fact that he's at 5.6. So he doesn't farm quite as much as Kanavi, but he does create more than Kanavi. Pioshik kind of in the middle there between Owner and Peanut, about standard where you want a good, solid jungler to be, above 5.5 and around 70%. Going into this event, I did lower that threshold because of the summer meta, but the meta at World seems to be going back towards what spring was, and because of that, the thresholds have been raised, at least for me. Now, damage percentage, Kanavi leading the way, 19.2%. That does make a ton of sense. Kanavi is extremely aggressive. He wants to get in there. He wants to get into team fights. Like I said, very skirmish heavy team. Canavi a big part of that. 19% is very high for a jungler. We do not see 19, 20% averages over a long period of time. You look at the other three, you got 13 for Owner, 15 for Peanut, 14.5 for Pyosik. That's pretty standard, 13 to 15%. Top laners taking a lot more. When you do think of Zeus yesterday, Zeus and Owner versus Canavi 369, the damage is probably pretty even, where there's give and take there. Now, when it comes to Peanut and Pyosik, their top laners do not deal a lot of damage, right? You know, Doran and Kingen are more weak side players, you know, filling out the team comp, split pushing. So the DRX and Gen G squads are getting their damage elsewhere completely than the top side of the Rift, which is why that is why they don't get as much praise in this meta as JDG and T1, because the way their team is formed. At 15 minutes, not as quite as big of gaps as yesterday. We saw, what, Zeus and 369 have 17, 16 CS gaps on average at 15 minutes. Canavi, 413 gold, leading the way. Pyosik, a slight lead of 187 at 15 minutes, which is, you know, not much at all. And Owner and Peanut, Peanut's actually behind, very small. Owner is barely ahead. Farm-wise, Canavi and Pyosik on average are both about 2 camps ahead, 7 CS, however you want to look at it. So that's not a massive lead. You'd think that would be more, but it really isn't. People have been actually able to keep up with Canavi, you know, relatively close through 15 minutes in the farm department. And then, you know, Pyosik's been playing some weird picks. I mean, the Kindred, for example, is one that may help his farm out a bit. XP-wise, Pyosik actually leads the way. He has taken enough XP to be, on average, nearly 300 XP ahead of his opponent. Canavi, 250, and the other two, 100. So all four of them have been able to get ahead in XP versus the opposition. So, I mean, it does make sense. Canavi is very farm heavy. He's going to get ahead. It's just a matter of how much. He gives up a little bit in terms of KP to do that. The notion that he always goes top lane and makes things happen may be true relative to the rest of his team, but relative to the other junglers in this tournament, KP-wise, he's not as involved. You know, there's more fighting away from him than with him. Now, with Champion Pool, I didn't expect there to be so many junglers out of these four, but it ended up being the case. So Viego in orange is the most played by Canavi. That, you know, has come back into the meta and is actually pretty strong. Outside of facing Graves, it is broken, actually. I believe the win rate on it is extremely high. I'm surprised it is not auto-picked by these other teams, especially, like, even you look at Peanut. Peanut hasn't played Viego at this tournament, but his Viego actually was fine in summer. It was 5-1. So really, he should have tried it, because he's struggling to find his way in this meta, and anything that he may have some experience on, at least recently, would help. Owner's most played is Sejuani, as is Peanut. So Owner and Peanut both playing a lot of Sej. Sej being first picked, being flexed to top lane. You know, it's the filler in terms of the comp. The front line, so you got some CC, has some you know, relevance throughout the game, no matter how much of a hole it gets into. So against Canavi, there is a possibility for Sej to always have some value, even if you end up in a hole. Pyosik, most played as Graves. Graves is the only champion that has been played by everybody. Graves obviously is the OP champion in this meta right now. It is disgusting. Now, what's actually funny is the win rate is not as good as people think it is. Viego actually, I think, has a better win rate than Graves. Not against each other, but I do think Viego has a better win rate than Graves. Graves is almost like, I don't even know if it's 60-40, really. And I know people are going to say, well, anything like 55 and higher is pretty strong. And yeah, over a big, giant sample size, but over like 20 games, I mean, that's 1 or 2 game difference. So, you know, Graves being the most played by everybody. Like I said, Peanut hasn't played Viego. Owner has not played Vi. That is good. Vi sucks. I really hope Owner doesn't continue to do that. Kanavi has not played Sejuani. It is not a Kanavi champion. I know he's played it, and he probably did okay on it if I recall correctly. But the fact of the matter is, Kanavi is not a Sej player. He wants to play carries. He wants to play Graves, Viego. Pulled out in Italy, which further proves that maybe Inspired did have a reason to play Italy. Maybe in scrims it was a legitimate thing, but it's not good, but it was a thing. You know, a couple players have played Lee Sin, Poppy. A lot of one-offs, so a lot of people just, you know, only one person trying it, like Kanavi's in Italy. Peanut on Trundle. Yeah, it's Peanut, not Owner. Peanuts played Trundle, Hecarim, Maokai. Nobody else on this board's played those. Hecarim coming into this event, a big pick. Maokai, a big pick, but lately, not so much. Pioshik's played Kindred, obviously his one trick. It worked, so that's good. But when it comes to Maokai, specifically, Maokai, I believe, is undefeated against, you know, I mean, it is undefeated when it's not against Silas. But there have been a lot of games, especially in quarterfinals, where Maokai and Silas are up for red side, and they're not taking both on the turn 1-2. Maybe Maokai and Silas don't go well together, but, I mean, Maokai is undefeated when it's not against Silas. So I guess in scrims, teams have figured out how to play against it without the Silas. I don't know. It's kind of a weird dynamic going on there because the Maokai was nasty. I mean, the ultimate is impossible to miss unless you're Canyon. So that's an interesting little bit of meta, you know, going on that doesn't make a lot of sense. So thank you for watching this video. Down in the description, like I said, Twitter, follow me there, Discord, join us, and YouTube membership, support me. Like the video if you like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Like I said, I do this every day. There is something coming out, one, maybe more videos every day. I know during the off season I'm going to be pounding out videos a lot, especially when we get into December, January. There are sometimes 3-4 videos a day. I really, you know, get going. So comment down below with your opinions, and thank you for watching.